All right. Hugo, Maya, Hugo, so good to see you again, buddy. How are you?
Uh, I'm doing all right. It's good to see you too, Anashay. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. And Maya, I am so honored to meet you. I've heard nothing but great things. Um, and so excited to just be working with you today, working with you both today. Before we dig in, right? Because you definitely called us to come and support you all. But before we dig in, I want to just first start by asking you, what are 2 to 3 words or short phrases that tell us how you're feeling coming into this space today?
Well, thanks for asking, Anashay. I'm coming into the space with guarded optimism, but I am hopeful.
Got it.
hmm Um, I'm frustrated and confused. I'm not really sure how we got here.
Got it. Guarded optimism, frustrated and confused.
hmm
Guys, thank you. I mean, first of all, thank you for being willing to even share your authentic emotions, right? I truly believe that sadness, fear, anger are all parts of our human emotion. So it means a lot to me, number one, that you are willing to share that. So let's continue to lean into those feelings, right? We actually we need those feelings to get to resolve, right? So tell me, what events within your consulting firm have led to these emotions, right? Like what led to you feeling like this in this professional setting? And then again, we'll look at how we can partner to address those.
Well,
Look, I'm just going to keep it real. It's like no matter what we do, everyone is going to keep complaining. We're giving our best to engage staff. We're trying to be on the right side of history, but nothing is enough.
Mm,
um, yeah, this is stemming from a recent equity statement we released to show our support of Black Lives Matter. We followed the advice of our DEI consultant, all staff board survey,
mhm.
organizational wide call.
Yeah, exactly. Not to mention our diverse executive leadership team of 7 people, in which 50% are African American and Latinx, male and female.
Got it, got it. So okay, so just so I'm clear, this is this these feelings that you're having, right, stemming from a Black Lives Matter statement, number one, in which you engage, your internal team, um, and then number two, in addition to the internal team reaching out to you guys, just like not really being aligned with it or wondering where do we go from here. There's also been some external issues as well.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say that's correct.
Yeah.
Mm, got it. Have there been any other engagement efforts?
Well, we went to our affinity based groups. We extended our time with the Black, Indigenous, People of Color, BIPOC group. People seemed excited.
Got it. Got it. And so now you also mentioned the backlash from local Black communities that you and your clients serve. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, absolutely. One of the communities we serve is situated in the heart of a local protesting site. There were several people injured, primarily by law enforcement, and a few of the injured are members of our team.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
That connection is so close. Oh my goodness. So let me pause and just say, wow, my thoughts are with those that have been injured. Um, much respect to them for their service, in support of Black lives. And so, just outside of this conversation, let me know if there's a way for disruptive partners to contribute to their medical bills. I mean, I don't know, I'm sure you guys are already doing things or whatever, but, number one, let us know how we can contribute to those that were injured. And then number two, would love to know, like, what are you guys doing as an organization to support them?
Well, thanks for that, Anashay. Um, so we've given them 5 additional days of sick leave. Our head of talent management is also exploring other things we can legally do to support. It is
Okay.
difficult because they were there on their own free will outside of work.
Mm,
Exactly. I actually grew up in that same neighborhood, and it was a mess even before the riots.
got it. Got it. Thanks, Maya. That context is helpful too. So let's stay here for a moment. So given your proximity, Maya, to the community, and Hugo, given the 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 frustration, right, the anger of the African American team within the organization, um, Maya, what is the story you're telling yourself about why Black Lives Matter internally and why Black lives externally are both, why Black lives internally and externally are both mad and sad with regard to the statement of support for Black lives? What's the story you're telling yourself?
Well, I honestly don't know. The story I'm telling myself is that they just don't see and understand all the things that we are doing. And even if we did, nothing would be enough. It's as if we're in violation of some type of agreement, and the only solution is our demise as an organization. They won't stop until they have caused our organization harm.
Mm,
Well, and I hate to admit this, but I'm, starting to feel the same way. I know I don't have a racist bone in me. I'm all about the people, but I don't know what I could have done to engage differently.
mm, yeah, thank you. And this is why self disruption, listen, guys, it's a critical first step in advancing the anti racist culture that we all speak about, right? The anti racist culture within systems, institutions, and yes, even organizations like yours. The work you all do is led by human beings with real feelings and real emotions, right? And the communities you impact, I mean, Maya, firsthand, they're full of Black lives that are sad, like
Mhm.
you guys mentioned coming in here, that are scared and skeptical of organizations like yours, right? And so they're even telling themselves a different story, right? And
Right.
I think we all agree, while nobody wants to be misinterpreted, quite often those in power, like yourself, right, you often get to own your narrative, right? And those most impacted by power structures, like the people within the communities you serve, don't. And so that's a very real thing, right? And so that's why we have to ask ourselves, what are we telling ourselves, right? What are other groups telling themselves, right? And how we get to resolve, right? And so if I could, I'd like to shift to your actual statement. I've spent some time really analyzing that and looking at that, right? Typically, we like to look outwardly at people, but I like to look at the root cause of what got us those reactions, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I did conduct a critical analysis of your statement, along with some other things, your strategy, so on and so forth. And we use our framework for disruptive action. Are you guys okay if we shift and dig into that for a moment?
Sure, absolutely.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, cool. So, in reviewing your statement, I think the overarching um, guiding question or the focus question for my analysis um, was within the statement of support, or your statement of support for Black Lives. The first thing I looked at were the stated commitments and whether they were actionable and or measurable.
Hmm.
And more specifically, if they aligned with engagement efforts, like, did all the engagement, all those things that you did they result in commitments, in statements, right? Do they result in facts, right? Historical facts, right? Did that show up in the statement? And so
Hmm.
I asked this, right? And that's my guiding question, right? Because it's obvious there was a lot of intentionality, right, with regard to your internal engagement. However, when we revisit your final statement, do you think it aligns with the authentic feelings and lived experiences of Black lives, right? Black people, right? Internally and externally of your organization, right? Like your African American staff and community members. Do you see the alignment between your statement, their lived experiences, and what they actually want for themselves and their communities?
Wow, those are great questions, and I don't have the answers to, but I think this is definitely a place for us to identify and align a concrete action to our stated commitment of using our positionality, influence, and partnerships as referenced in our
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter statement. This is something that we could actually do really soon. We just, we just hadn't thought about it.
I agree. Um, yeah, Hugo, I agree. I think after this disruptive conversation, I'm excited about the opportunities to connect with both our staff and the community in empowering ways. As an organization, we should definitely commit to creating spaces to learn from and partner with impacted communities and their identified leaders.
Yes.
I would love to co plan a roundtable discussion with our Black staff and local members from the community I grew up in.
Well, yeah. Uh, wow. This is both scary and exciting, but critically important sustainable impact for generations to come. Of course, we would be sure to compensate our local trusted advisors for their time and expertise.
Mhm.
If I could just give you a virtual high five, like seriously, right? Maya, you nailed it, right? I mean, I even, what I hear you just say, like if I repeat it, you want to make a commitment to creating spaces to learn from and to partner with impacted communities and their identified leaders. And I love the fact that you are saying, as a matter of fact, those Black staff members that were bold enough, right, and courageous enough to elevate this, right, they united and they got clear and they elevated a concern. You're now actually wanting to connect them and giving them the autonomy to facilitate that conversation.
Mhm.
And Hugo, you nailed it with the compensation piece, right? Because again, we all know, right, when we value someone as an advisor and as a consultant, right, we honor them, we pay them, we roll out the red carpet. And
Mhm.
your community members has an expertise that you don't, right? And so
Yes,
because of
right.
that, we honor them and we learn and we work with, so they don't feel like things are being done to them, but really with them in a way that actually elevates them and their positionality and the wealth of knowledge they possess. So that's a great note to end on. So just to recap, initially you guys came in, right? And you both stated that you were coming into this space feeling guarded and
Mhm.
frustrated and confused and all of that, all those very real emotions. How are you feeling now as you enter this space?
I am feeling clear and ready to act.
Yeah. This has been a great conversation. I'm feeling humbled and I'm ready to unite.
Outstanding. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to continue working with you.
Thank you so much, Anashe.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great job. Really nice. I'm going to go ahead and open it up to Jamie and the group on the next steps for reflection. Thank you so much, Anashe.
Sure. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you. Bye.
You too.
Thank you so much, Bennett. And